water.
Scottie B going to work in the paint.
Eastern Conference Final. New NBA champion. And it's a team from Toronto, Canada. We, the North, are now we, the champions.
What is going on, Raptors Nation? It is Luca here, back with the Raptors Nation podcast on this Thursday, June 6th. It is the start of the NBA Finals, Game 1 between the Boston Celtics and the Dallas Mavericks tonight. Just for the record, I do have the Dallas Mavericks winning the NBA Finals. That is my official prediction. I'm going Mavs in 6. Luka Doncic wins the NBA Finals MVP. We got an action-packed show. We got a lot to get to in this one, guys. We're going to be talking about Zach Edey, who had a workout with the Raptors the other day. We're going to be talking about Scottie Barnes. And then we're going to be talking about some Raptors rumors. Before we dive right into it, do me a solid. Hit a like on the video and subscribe to the channel for more Raptors content over here at the Raptors Nation YouTube channel. And yeah, wherever you get this podcast, Apple iTunes, Spotify, be sure to leave us a 5-star review. It would be greatly appreciated. This Raptors Nation podcast coming to you every single Thursday as we look at the biggest storylines in Raptors land. All right, let's get into it. Zach Edey, one of the more intriguing prospects in the 2024 NBA draft. Somebody who has been linked to the Raptors a ton lately via mock drafts and just overall chatter. He had a workout with the Raptors the other day. Zach Edey seen sporting a Raptors jersey at the OVO Athletic Center, putting up some shots. This video courtesy of Sports Illustrated's Aaron Rose. As Zach Edey, the Canadian from Purdue, a lot of attention has been made about the possibility of Edey getting drafted by the Toronto Raptors. As Edey, he did say that he's nowhere near a finished product. He still has a lot of work to do. Says Toronto was his first workout, and he's got about 4 or 5 more. As Edey, seen as a potential second-round pick at the beginning of the year, he's been gaining a ton of buzz. Now, I mean, I've seen him go as high as the late lottery in some mock drafts. Edey, in all likelihood, you would think he's going to be taken in the first round. There's obviously the chance he could always fall, but you look at Edey, guys, one of the more intriguing names in this year's draft. And instead of declaring for the draft last year, Edey elected to get back for one more season at Purdue. And boy, oh boy, did he ever dominate. I mean, the 7'4" big man averaged 24.9 points, 12.2 rebounds, 2.2 blocks, and 2.1 assists per game. He shot it very efficiently, 62.5% from the field, and he showed off his versatility, his dominance inside, and he clinched his second straight Player of the Year award as he led the Boilermakers to the NCAA championship game. Of course, they came up short against UConn, but it's crazy how things are full circle here, right? It's not that long ago that Edey was cheering on the Raptors during their championship run, and he talked about that via Ryan Woolstat of the Toronto Sun, saying, it's cool. I mean, just when you grow up watching, it's not that long ago. But I remember driving around downtown after they won the championship. Like, downtown was going crazy. Now I'm here working out. Like, it is really cool. And then Edey also talked about the possibility of getting drafted by the Raptors. Obviously, getting drafted anywhere would be a blessing, but drafted by Toronto, it's the team you grew up watching. It's a team all my buddies are watching, my family watch. It'd be really cool. And you look at Edey, he obviously dominated college. He is a classic big man doing most of his damage inside. And he was basically like the Shaquille O'Neal at Purdue. And Edey said this, I think I'm still kind of the same type of player. I'm still strong. I like to bang inside, like to get my position, like to travel in space and dominate in the paint. But I think I've improved my foot speed and improved my conditioning. I improved a lot of things, my touch, my feel for the game. Edey did mention the likes of, Jonas Valanciunas, Vucevic, Zubac, even Jokic and Embiid, saying he believes he could do a lot of, similar things to what those bigs do as well. And Edey went on to say this: I don't even think I'm close to my ceiling, still doing things in practice I've never done, still trying to add things to my game that I've never done before. I don't think I'm a finished player by any means. I can still get better at every part of my game. So obviously saying the right things. Zach Edey, continuing to develop his game. And you look at Edey, guys, if he can develop any sort of jump shot, that's just going to make him that much more dominant on offense. Obviously, the biggest knock on Edey is if his game is going to translate to the NBA level, because he's that traditional old school style center. Is he going to be able to adapt and be impactful on, the NBA level? Look, I'm wishing him the best. I hope he ends up proving a lot of doubters wrong, because Zach Edey, obviously he dominated at the college level for a reason. He's got skill. This isn't a matter of, questioning his skill set, his work ethic, his demeanor. It's about, can he adapt, and is he able to perform at the next level on an NBA team and be a solid contributor out there and not be a liability. So the thing with Edey is this, and here's my take about the whole Zach Edey to Toronto. There's been a lot of buzz, a lot of speculation. Hoops Hype actually had was like a draft simulation, and the most likely pick for the Raptors, according to them, is them taking Zach Edey. And obviously there's the whole Canadian notion there, so these American media outlets are going to run with that. My stance on Edey hasn't changed. I would not take Edey at number 19. I think the Raptors would be in a much better position to go with a different prospect at number 19. Just to throw a couple names at you, my selections haven't changed a whole ton. When I did a separate video looking at who I think would be good, realistic targets for the Raptors at 19, but I think Yves Missy, that's a guy who I would like in the spot. Kalel Ware, I think would be nice as well. You got some guards in Collier. If he is still available at 19, I think he could potentially be a steal. You got Bub Carrington. The Ringer put out something today, Jacoby Walter at number 19. So there are, I think, a lot more intriguing, high upside prospects that I think the Raptors would be better suited taking at 19. But look, if Zach Edey somehow falls and all of a sudden, Edey doesn't get taken in the first round, which I think it's going to be pretty unlikely. I do see Edey going in the first round, but let's just say he doesn't. Let's just say the skepticism is at an all-time high. Edey somehow falls to the second round. Well, guess what? The Raptors, they got number 31. They have the first pick of the second round. I would be more inclined to take Edey with number 31, but not 19. So the only way I would be in favor of this is if Edey falls and the Raptors take him with 31. I think with that pick, you're able to take a chance. I think 19, you go with the safer approach. There are a lot of guys you can go with. And then at 31, if Edey is still on the board, yeah, why not? Why not take a chance with Edey? The Raptors need front court depth. And I think they are going to end up taking a developmental big for sure with one of these two picks. As you look at who's been, projected the Raptors, it's been, either a big or a guard. And I think that's what they're going to tackle on with both of these picks. So we'll see what happens there. And really, just to add on to this, it came out today, so it is a perfect add-on here, that could the Raptors even end up potentially trading a pick? And could they trade number 31? Because a report came out the other day from Sam Bianchini. Well, really, he put out his mock draft, and before getting into his mock draft, he did have a little interesting tidbit that caught a lot of attention. Sam Bianchini of The Athletic saying that there's a lot of significant expectation league-wide that Toronto could command a serious overnight offer for its number 31 pick from a team looking to jump to the front of Thursday's line and select its top remaining player. It's a 2-night draft, first time ever. First night, the 26th, 8 p.m. Second night, the 27th, 4 p.m. A little bit of a weird start time there. But, hey, a team could want to jump in front of the line, like Vincini said, and there's always players that unexpectedly fall to the second round. So if a team really wants a player that hasn't been taken yet and they want to get in front of that line, well, guess what? The Raptors are all of a sudden going to have serious leverage in trade talks for a team that really wants that pick. Now, how serious of an offer is it going to be? I think that's the more interesting part here. I don't know how serious an offer could get for 31. This is a little interesting wrinkle with the Raptors now. Could a team, multiple teams, be giving them a call and say, hey, we want to get in here? And could it be a last minute thing again of a player that was supposed to be taken with the first round, fall into the second round? A team wants to take them. They might do whatever it takes to beat out all the other teams in the second round to take that player. Could Edey still be on the board, like I just mentioned? Bronny James, another intriguing name. His draft range has kind of been all over the place. And could a team want Bronny with the first pick of the second round in hopes of luring LeBron? That's if Bronny isn't taken in the first round. So, yeah, I think it makes for a very interesting scenario here. And if you're the Raptors, you could have some leverage when it's all said and done, because again, you have that first pick of night 2. So it will be interesting to see how the first round pans out and then how that affects the second round. Yeah, guys, what are your thoughts on Edey potentially being drafted by the Raptors? Would you take Edey at 19? Do you agree with me? You would only take him at 31, or are you not interested in Edey at all? And could you see a last minute deal being made by the Raptors involving their number 31 pick? Could be a big possibility as we get closer and closer to the NBA draft. 3 weeks away. It is fast approaching as the Raptors will have number 19 and number 31. All right, guys. Next, I wanted to talk about Scottie Barnes. His extension could be coming this summer. Doug Smith of the Toronto Star put something out the other day, basically writing how the Raptors are almost assuredly going to give Barnes a contract worth about $260 million US as soon as the first week of July. Scottie Barnes is extension eligible this summer. You look at this, guys, it is a no-brainer. Obviously, the Raptors have made their intentions known that Scottie Barnes is the face of the franchise, having made the trades that they did this past season. And for Toronto to have their number 1 guy locked up without any worry, I think that is going to be a blessing. You want him locked up. Obviously, that's the guy you're building this team around moving forward. And with his skill set, this price tag is, worth it. I think, for Scottie Barnes, he's going to get paid, but rightfully so. This is a guy that the franchise has a lot of faith in. And I think this is going to be the summer where the Raptors want to lock up, some important parts of their core. Scottie being the biggest. You got Emmanuel Quickley. He's a restricted free agent. Raptors in all likelihood going to lock him up. RJ's under contract until the 2027-2028 season, so they don't have to worry about him for the next little bit. So I think, the Raptors, they want to have their core 3 intact. They want to lock these guys up. They want to have this finalized core 3 so then they can start building the entire team around them. So, Scottie Barnes could be getting a huge payday this summer, and he would be locked up with the Toronto Raptors. And the last time the Raptors negotiated such a deal with a player who had made a leap, obviously Scottie Barnes coming off the type of leap that he did, made it to the All-Star team, had just an excellent season, was Pascal Siakam, who signed a 4-year, $136 million extension in October 2019. Siakam didn't make the All-Star team. He did end up making it in his 4th season, but he started and he played a huge role in the Raptors' 2019 championship run. So obviously he got rewarded for that. But looking at Scottie, he showed you that he can be a very, very impactful player, a valuable player. He could potentially be, that superstar talent that can carry this team back to relevancy. The way he's able to just impact the game, all of his averages, seeing an uptick. Scottie able to develop more of that jump shot, 3-pointer, getting his teammates involved, showed more aggressiveness, attacking. Scottie Barnes showing signs of that number 1 guy. The Raptors are going to need him to continue to get better, which obviously at 22 years old, coming off the year that he has, there's no telling how much better Scottie can be. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing the strides Scottie makes in his 4th season. From year 2 to year 3, major strides in his game. And if you're the Raptors, you just hope that trajectory upwards continues with Barnes. So it's going to be interesting to see if this indeed gets done this summer, but that is the figure that Doug Smith put out there, about 260. So Scottie's going to get paid, and I know he's been enjoying a little bit of time off, but it's going to be back to work soon for Scottie and this Raptors team as they look to have a much better season than the one they just had. So Scottie Barnes' extension could be coming very, very soon. That is something to keep an eye out for. as we enter the offseason and free agency in particular. All right, guys. So to conclude today's pod, I wanted to end with this. There's obviously been a lot of rumors coming out. In last week's pod, I talked about Bleacher Report pitching an idea that sent Andrew Wiggins to the Raptors for Bruce Brown. Well, here's another rumor that's kind of made its way to the forefront here of the last couple of days. Kyle Kuzma linked to Toronto. Yes, Kyle Kuzma is believed to be traded as Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, saying that the Wizards could trade Kuzma before the start of next season. And then Siegel mentions the Raptors as a team to keep an eye on regarding Kuzma, saying the Toronto Raptors are another team to keep an eye on regarding Kuzma as they look to move swingman Bruce Brown this offseason. Masai Ujiri and the Raptors front office have always made their intentions of retooling the roster instead of rebuilding it prominent. Going out and bringing in Kuzma to pair with Quickly and Barrett would certainly reflect this notion. You look at Kuzma, set to make $23 million next season. He's got 3 more years left on his current contract. The Raptors, they're going to have until June 29th to pick up Bruce Brown's team option, as he is set to earn $23 million next season as well. As Doug Smith of the Toronto Star first reported that the Raptors are likely to pick up Brown's option and then trade him soon after, instead of holding on to the 27-year-old until the 2025 NBA trade deadline. Now, a Brown for Kuzma trade works, but it wouldn't make sense for Toronto, in my opinion. I mean, when I look at Kuzma, he to me is somebody who would be better suited on a contending team, as a third or even fourth option. Not a guy you want to bring in the current state of this Raptors franchise, a team that should not even be entertaining the idea of a retooling. They should just be going all in on this rebuild and doing things right. So taking on Kuzma's contract, who, by the way, turns 29 this summer, wouldn't fit that timeline. So I'm not interested in this whole idea of a retooling, trying to jump the line here, skipping steps in order to, speed up things. I think the Raptors got to take their time with this. And if they are in this rebuild, and they are going to rebuild for the next little bit, they got to do things right. So I think with Brown, you got to prioritize getting some draft compensation back, but a straight up Kuzma for Bruce Brown trade, yeah, I'm not in. I'm passing on that. So the Raptors, they reportedly tried to trade Brown, and they were seeking a first round pick at the time. In return, they were unable to get a deal done, and they're going to have this offseason to work something out. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the Raptors still prioritize trying to get back draft compensation. And obviously, there was that Wiggins piece that came out. It was just an idea put out by Bleacher Report. And now we got Kyle Kuzma, being linked to Toronto. Again, if the Raptors were in a different situation and this was a team that I felt, was closer than expected to competing and contending, I would say, yeah, trade for Kuzma. But, he can be a solid contributor in a team that's trying to win a title. But given where the Raptors are, a Kuzma trade does not make sense. You don't want to take away from any of the other guys on this team, a Quickly, a Barrett, certainly not Barnes. So I don't think Kuzma would, move the needle enough where all of a sudden next season you're a contender, and then he doesn't make sense in a rebuild. So it's kind of a no man's land move here. And yeah, I wouldn't be interested in this. But a lot of people like Kuzma's game. A lot of people like this. Would you guys be interested to see Kyle Kuzma be traded for Bruce Brown? Because we know one thing, Bruce Brown is in all likelihood going to be traded this offseason after the Raptors pick up his team option. That's at least what the reports have been indicating. So yeah, the Raptors are going to have to strike a deal. And like I said, hopefully the Raptors can still prioritize and get back some sort of draft compensation that would help them try to add a younger talent down the line versus just doing some of these deals straight up. The tricky part about Brown is the fact that he is making $23 million. So you're going to need that filler salary to come back to make a deal work, because teams with cap space are not going to just take on Brown. And I think a team that trades for Brown is going to be on the doorstep of competing for a title. Basically what I said for Kuzma, a team that trades for Kuzma, I see them being a team that's closer to a championship and not a team that literally just started their rebuild like the Toronto Raptors. So let me know what your thoughts are on a potential Bruce Brown for Kyle Kuzma trade. All right, guys, that is going to conclude today's podcast. There was a lot there. So as always, let me know your thoughts to all of it down in the comment section below. Drop a like on the video, guys. It does help a ton. Also, subscribe to the channel if you are new. There's going to be a lot more Raptors content on this channel as we get closer to the draft. Along with this podcast, I do throw in videos in between as well. You can check out all of our work over at raptorsnation.com. pumping out articles every single day, bringing you the latest. As there's been a lot of little tidbits, so it hasn't been entirely quiet in Raptors land. Obviously, as the draft approaches, there's going to be a lot more mock drafts coming out, guys scheduling workouts. And of course, we got the 2024 NBA Finals. Not going to be covering the finals on this channel, but definitely going to be watching and hoping, like I said, the Mavericks beat Boston. Anybody but Boston was my mentality. It's funny because I initially said the Celtics were going to win the championship. That was my pick at the start, thinking about it logically. But, we're in this finals. I don't want to see Boston winning it. So I'm going for the Mavs, and hopefully Luca can get that done. So enjoy the finals, guys. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Hit a like, subscribe before you get out of here. That is it for me. It's Luca signing off. As always, thank you so much for watching. I will catch you all again in the next one.